Morning, guys. How's everyone doing this morning? Tuesday morning, trading the New York session. Some interesting price action happening today. So far, it's pretty much exactly where it started off for the day on a lot of the pairs. US dollar coming back, just chopping pretty much sideways. I was hoping for a move lower down to these levels down here, and then potentially looking at picking up some strength and seeing if we can't get above some of these old highs up in here. There's a terrible straight line. I'm going to straighten that out. Guys, just give me a quick thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Yes or no, that would be great. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here before I realize I was just having some audio issues there for a second, switching back from my headphones to my other mic. So I like to use my headphones with the built-in mic into it because it doesn't pick up a lot of the background noise, and so you may be able to hear a fan going on right now. So the mic doesn't really pick that up very well, which is nice. So I was doing a little bit of switching back and forth, so I just had to make sure that I'm able to hear. Make sure you guys can hear me here. Anyway, so US dollar, pretty much same scenario as yesterday. Not a whole ton happening. Again, just chopping straight sideways. We had a nice sell-off into drop down into a nice area right into here, this old consolidation area. Had a great rebound. So far it's failed to take the highs, but I think we're getting a nice little pullback where we should be getting the highs here pretty soon. And I think they'll end up running price above here. We should see some sort of bounce off of this level here, and we could be picking up at a good time here to get in on the New York open session and see if we can't pick up a trade here for this morning. So I'm going to look into that here right now on a couple of these pairs. But so far, nothing too pretty about trading the US dollar. Again, just very, very sideways action on this. I just want to straighten up this trend line here. Give me 1 second. Oops. There we go. These guys are crazy, not having straight trend lines. Sorry, and 1 more second, guys. Here, I just have to do one last thing here. There we go. Okay, so yeah, like I say, so we're pretty much this of the week anyway. Weekly high and low that were made on Monday. We're pretty much trading just a little bit above the halfway mark right now. So what I'm hoping to see here, and I did a live video, or sorry, a pre-recorded video late last night about sort of the weekly action. What I was hoping to see was I wanted to see price today dip down a little bit lower, take out these lows here, and potentially trade down to here. We didn't get that. We just basically got to return back down to, again, the Monday low consolidation, and then so far a strong move off of that. So what I'm thinking here is we could get a slip down to about here, and then price may continue to run higher from there. I'm just going to do this. There we go. So I'd be looking for a continuation higher. Really didn't do anything. It's just still trading inside of the range right here. And if you look again on a daily, it's actually sitting, it looks just like a doji candle right now, similar to Friday's trading here. So nothing really happening yet. I think we're still fairly early on in the action here. But again, what I'd be looking at, I don't want to see price go down, return back down to here. I think if it does that, then we could be looking for the lows, and we could continue lower into here if that does happen. And you can see up here, they've done a fairly good job of making everybody think that this is resistance up in this area here. Price is tagged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times off of this level up here. Eventually these are going to get run out, and they're going to convincingly break the highs in here, and I think that should run us back up into this level up here. And I'll put a price tag on this here so everybody can see what we're looking at. So about the 90 big figure on the US dollar is ultimately what I'm looking for. They did a nice job of running price down into here. They keyed off of the lows. Again, pretty much a failure swing. They just about keyed off the lows off of the old previous lows set back in mid-January. And failure swing, and had made a very, very nice push higher. So now we're just, again, chopping straight sideways here. So one of two things is going to happen. Again, it's non-farm this week, so we could have, you know, price just chop sideways until non-farm happens and all their levels come out, and then it makes a decision as to which way it wants to go, and then that's, you know, the direction we're going to take. I hope we don't see that. Again, you know, I do want to see this pair. It's been creating a nice, like I say, artificial ceiling right here. Everyone's thinking this is resistance, so they're selling into this. I think they're just creating, again, an artificial roof to it. And what they may still do, there is a bit of an area under here that I'd like them to come and grab and essentially tag off of these old highs back in here. We may not come down and see that much of a decline. If it does happen, it happen probably during non-farm. They may come back down, tag it, and then run it higher again. Or we could just start running higher straight off of here. But there are two areas definitively that I am looking at. And again, so far we've come off the low of Monday, keyed off of that, and now we're back at the just about the opening. See this candle right here? This is the opening candle on Monday. We're pretty much trading right about that high right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if they want to come any lower than that. I think they've already done it once, and so I think they're probably going to start running it higher, but we'll see here pretty soon. Again, I'd be surprised if they want to run it back down under here. I don't know why they drop it down, run it up, and fail to take this high here and then run it lower again. But again, US dollar, I mean, you look at this thing for the past couple of months trading, and very, very erratic trading. Definitely trading in a range. Nothing very nice about that. And now we're in a very, very compact range now. I mean, this is literally a, from there to there, that's a 37 pip range. So really anything's bound to happen. They could take the buy stops above and the sell stops below, and really it'd be pretty much normal trading day for the for the US dollars. So take those day dividers off. So there's not much I can say more than that. I'd be looking for some kind of a bounce in this area if it is going to take these highs. If it doesn't bounce there, then they'll probably end up coming back, running the lows down here, and then I'll be looking for a target. I'm gonna put a price tag on this level here so you guys can see this. So we're about the 89.20 level, somewhere in around there. I'd actually even say more like 89.25 is kind of the level that I like. And that's just, again, just kind of in confluence with a couple areas back in here. If it does get down that far, I would be looking at some kind of a measured bounce from there. But what will let us know here pretty quickly is, oh, I just got someone who said that I don't have any audio. One second, guys. Just to confirm, can you guys hear me at all? Just give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me at all. Oh, okay. Sorry, never mind. I had one of my guys saying he was on the other line and he couldn't hear me here. I just had to double check. I don't want to be blabbing on here and nobody can hear me. Okay, I think we're good to go. I'll just double check real quick here. Getting a sound level. Okay, perfect. Anyway, so like I say, price is now trading back off down into this big down candle right here. They pushed price down once already today. Had a nice rejection off of this small consolidation area in here. Failed to take the highs again. And now we're pretty much right in the 50% range of this area here. So again, I'd be looking for some kind of a run higher from here. If they don't want to do that, then we could want to come back down and sweep these lows down here. But they did a fairly good job already once of keying off of these levels in here, almost perfectly with the bodies of these candles here, coming down, slamming into this old consolidation back in here from last week. And just no real willingness to continue down into it. You can see here that the lows here failed to get back down below there. So, and price so far seems to be stalling again right at this candle right there. So I'm going to just drop down to a 15-minute. Really ugly price action as well too. I mean, you look at this and you can kind of see, I mean, and price just really is not wanting to go anywhere. I mean, trading right inside of a very, very tight range right now. Like I was just saying earlier, you know, price is basically trading in about a 30 pip range, you know, maybe a 35 pip range so far to start off the week. And not very exciting. So you can see this is the opening candle of Monday here. They dropped it down, took it back up, dropped it down, took it back up, and now we're sitting right at the middle of that candle right now. So I mean, honestly, where we go from here, it's sort of anybody's guess. Non-farm this Friday. I'm hoping that after non-farm they finally give the US dollar a kick in the ass and get it going to wherever the hell it's going to go already, because this sideways consolidation trading is kind of frustrating at times. I mean, if you can get in and you can start trading the extremes, hang on here, I'll just bring these up. Pretty much the low candle there. If you can get in and start trading the extremes and taking the short position and long positions, short positions, I mean, sure, you're fine there. But again, hindsight's 20/20 on a lot of this, and just so far, especially the price action rate in here, and then this stuff in here, and a lot of the stuff in the middle, not very high probability trades. I mean, it can literally 50% chance it could go higher, it could go lower. So I definitely want to see if it can bust out of this range here a little bit. But anyway, let's just say, for example, price doesn't want to show any willingness to come back down to this level again, and we do get a run higher and get above these highs here. Let's just have a quick look at what we'd be seeing. Sorry, one second, guys. On the euro and the pound dollar. Euro, again, I did a pre-recorded video last night about this. Not very interesting to me right now, trading in this range, and especially today. I'll zoom in a little bit. Very, very reminiscent of what the US dollar looks like. Just 4 days, very, very tight range days, not really going anywhere, and not very exciting to trade. I mean, you could certainly trade it if you wanted to, but I'd rather be looking for big range days if we can to trade on. And again, you know, we're looking at about a 55 pip trading range right there. So not huge ranges, that's for sure. Pretty ugly, and you can see like they're just whipping price around right now. Put the data dividers back on here. So Monday's open was right here. They came down, ran price up into a nice area of resistance up here. Again, old consolidation lows, so you'd be expecting a bounce in there. And they dropped the price down and then slowly rode it back up, and they came a little bit deeper than I thought they would have needed to come back in here today, and then again drop it down, failed to take the lows so far, and now we're just sitting pretty much just a little bit under that open candle, which comes in right here. So if they do want to take out that open, then I'm assuming that they're going to want to take it higher. And there's a few ranges back in here. For instance, this consolidation low back in here would be an area where I'd be looking for them to run back up to if they did want to take the Monday's high back out. Again, and we won't know that. If the US dollar starts to run lower and again take out these lows in here, then we'll see the opposite happening in the euro. We should run up and we should get a level up here. So I'm going to put a price chart on that, or price tag on that level here. I don't think, I think 80 where I'd be looking for a target if it does start to run higher, just to sort of kind of get into the bottom, like I say, of these levels in here. So I'll drop this down a little bit here. Maybe even in this neck of the woods here, basically where these candles are. It could get a run up and wick up again, you know, into the bodies of these candles a little bit more, but somewhere right around here, I'd say. So anywhere in between there would be a good target if they do want to run these highs here, and that would take us into sort of Wednesday, Thursday trading. So basically Monday opens, it creates the low of the week down here. Monday actually would have created a low and then price trading higher if that is the scenario that they want to unfold. The other scenario that could happen again, if we see any measurable bounce off of the current level that we're at right now on the dollar, then the euro, we should start to see a move lower. And then from there, let me run into a 4-hour chart here. Then this low here would be the one that I'd be targeting, coming in at 22.40. So, you know, like I say, just sort of right in the middle, and we're right now, we're pretty much in the middle of that range right now, for the most part, at 23.10. So we're about 50 pips from here, and about 60 pips from 70 pips from here. So pretty close to right about the middle of that range right now. So just depending on what the US dollar wants to do. Let's just see if there's anything on the old news chart here that might drive price a little bit higher. I don't really see anything that's too significant. Let me just put a different filter on here. We had a bunch of euro news throughout the London session today, being April 3rd, and there was some pound sterling manufacturing PMI news at 4:30 a.m. New York time. I'll go through that here in a minute. And then there is nothing. I mean, there's some total vehicle sales, which is an all-day event, and then there's some IBD, TIPP economic optimism, which that's a low impact, so it shouldn't do anything. And then there's an FOMC member speaking at the end of the day. So really there's no major news events or any drivers here that I see that's going to push the US dollar around. So we're going to be basing our actions just purely off a straight price levels and logical areas where we should see reversals. So I guess we will have to wait and see here. But right now, I'm just trading right in the middle of a range, so nothing too exciting happening right there. Same thing with the euro. Just right in the middle of the range today. They created the high, created the low, and now we're trading right in the middle of the range. Look at that. Just right almost exactly at the 50% level of today. So today is literally sitting at a doji right now, and they could take it anywhere. So you know, unless you are trading the extreme edges of this, I was looking into, like I say, I did a live recording. I wanted to see them push up, or a pre-recorded video. I wanted to see them push up today a little bit higher and see if we couldn't get a bounce off of these levels in here and then a run lower. That was my ultimate goal. Again, they're doing the same thing as what they're doing in the US dollar. They're creating a very artificial, you know, support area right in here. They will run these, but it's just a matter of are they going to run it down first and then jam it higher, or are they going to take the highs and then run it lower? So we just won't know yet until obviously it gives us some kind of indicator. But today is definitely no indicator. We're trading. It's a doji today. I mean, again, right? Just not too much happening there. So I don't want to talk about the euro anymore because there's really not much there to talk about. So going on to the pound dollar, you can see here prices pretty much. I mean, we're still, looks like we're zooming this uptrend here. We had a brief retracement into the end of last week, and now we're getting a couple of nice big bullish candles here to start off the week. I'm not necessarily convinced though that they're going to continue to run it and they're going to take out these highs. If there is any strength in the US dollar, if they do start to run these up and maybe start to take out that high there, then it's going to negate any run on the dollar, the pound dollar. It should. The pound dollar should do the opposite again of what the US dollar is doing, so it should start to show some weakness. However, it has been showing some strength here as of late, where the US dollar has just been going straight sideways. So it is a good time for them to manipulate a lot of these currencies. And really what I was doing here with this fib, I'm just showing you that we're pretty much trading just a little bit above the 50% level of this move higher. So if we're going to see any type of reversal, it typically happens either at 50% or a little bit lower at the 61, 72, 79% retracement levels, in and around there. And I think we're just trading up to trade softer. To be honest with you, I'm going to go down to a 1 hour chart, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just kind of show you again some levels here. So what I'm looking at is we've created a high up in here, and it's, you know what, let me just get rid of some of this here, just so I'm not just so I don't have too many levels on here. So you can kind of see here price is creating a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. It ran up, ran the highs one more time. I think they're going to go for these highs eventually, but I think they're going to drop the price down a little bit lower before they do that. They came down, made a failure swing in here, and so far it's just been sitting and bouncing, and again creating that artificial level of support right down in here. I do believe, however, though, if you know, the old theory of price trades from consolidation to consolidation, we've got a consolidation in here, traded back into it. We've got another one in here, and we've got a couple more down in here that I'd be targeting. So I believe we're going to see lower prices to come on the pound dollar, and I don't necessarily think that they're going to come all the way down here and sweep these lows down in here, but I definitely think that we are going to see lower prices for sure. These levels in here are going to get run out on the downside before it goes higher and challenges these highs here, is my belief. But again, we'll have to wait and see. The past 1, 2, 3 days just trading straight in that range there, so nothing too exciting really here yet, but I do believe they're going to break these lows and bring it down lower and trade back into these consolidation areas here, and then ultimately into here, sweeping this low here. So it's going to take a couple of levels off the chart here, and a couple of price tags, and we can watch what's happening. Really not much to talk about today, unfortunately. You know, if you could have got a long off of here, you might have been able to do that and scalped, you know, about 40 pips, which would have been a nice little take. And that's kind of the theme of this week so far is if you can scalp 20 or 30 pips, you know, take it and run, because you know, we're just range bound trading. Even the cable, which has seen some nice price, you know, push one way or another fairly nicely. It's the past 3 days now we're just trading right in a range here. So Again, just call out a couple of levels, which I did here. I have 141.10 and 141.30 on the upside here that I'd like to see them return to. And from there, if they show any willingness to get higher than the middle of this range here, then they could be looking to take the highs up here. But I believe we'll see some failure up there and then price trading lower. And again, they're just creating these lows in here, an artificial support base, because they're going to run those later. Everybody right now is looking at this and they're building up their positions, and everyone's thinking, okay, this thing's going long. It's failing to get under here, and I think they're just going to drive this thing lower. So I'd like to see actually if price wants to get above this candle here today. See this sort of range, how they pushed it up into here and then dropped it. I want to see if they have any willingness to get above that current level right there. And then if they do, I'll be looking for this on target for the day, and then Tuesday potentially creating the high and then rolling over Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. But we'll have to wait and see there. We're just sort of trading. This was the open, which is interesting. So they opened Tuesday, ran it up. So basically it'd be a wick from the open after they dropped it down to here, and then and traded lower and then ran it back up again. So now we're just trading just a little bit above, about probably 20 pips above the open on today, about 25 pips open on from the open today. So right in the middle of the range again. Right, going back to that daily, it is a bit of a green up candle so far, but just a small range day. There's not a whole lot to go off of yet. So far on the dollar, the pound dollar, we did take out Monday's high. But we have yet to take out the low. They're really keeping that low intact. And I'm sorry, I was looking at Fridays. This is the low, Monday's low here. They just ran it by a couple of pips. I wonder, I'm just looking at this candle right here. Let me get rid of these day dividers. Just looking at this candle right here. So this was Monday's open candle, and it opened at 140.22 on this feed. The low came in at 140.20, and the low here came in at 140.20. So it literally just bounced right off of that low, Monday's open low, and rejected. And two very, very nice bullish candles there. So interesting to see what they want to do. If they don't show any willingness to go higher than this candle, I'm going to assume that Tuesday created the high of the week here. And we could be seeing, if they don't want to get through, see how they're having a hard time so far getting through this candle right here. If they don't want to get through that, I'm a little bit of the opinion that they may want to drop it back down, and then again Tuesday created the high, and then we'll see lower prices. Ultimately, I'd like to see prices go lower. So I said this in the video, in the pre-recorded video last night, that ultimately they came down and jammed price down once under this low rate here, and ripped it back up. So there's a lot of areas of liquidity under here that they've left from, traders obviously jamming their stops up as they're correct, that are under these lows here. So I think that if they have any measurable downward movement, they'll be going and gunning for that liquidity. So there's a couple of pockets still in here. There's this one here and this one here that they've still left intact. So I'd be surprised if they start running it higher from here yet. I think they want to come a bit lower into it. And again, like I say, they're creating this artificial sense of security down here for everybody going long. And they're all thinking, oh, this is going to be the level of support. So what are they doing? If they come in here and if they're long in this movement up here, they're jamming their stop up under here, jamming it under here, and now they're jamming it under here. And so I think that's just a perfect opportunity for them to come and raid that area. Now again, it may not get super deep. I mean, we could come, and you see this level of consolidation right back in here, this small area in here. We could come right back down to that level, and that would be perfectly fine for them to sweep the stops in here, and pretty much right about the 139.55 level. maybe a little bit deeper, but we'll call it 139.55 for today, and we can refine that if price comes back down to it. But on the downside, that would definitely be a level that you stupid price tag. Hang on. Sorry. So that would kind of bring us down to just sort of the highs of this consolidation area in here, and I'll just grab a level. I know my charts are starting to look a little cluttered here, but bear with me. There is a method to the madness. So upside target, downside target. One of the two will happen this week, and if it does get this low here, that's basically just a run of about 60 pips on these lows right here if they do get down to there. The other lows would be right in here. So if they're going to sweep it, they could tend to just come down 20 pips or so, 20 to 30 pips below, which would take us just under the lows right here. So I'd definitely be looking at the areas in, let me just get rid of these guys here. I'd definitely be looking at either these lows to get swept, these lows for sure, these lows here to come down and just get swept. That'd be about a 30 pip run under there, and even down into the highs of this small consolidation level in here would be sort of the target on the downside if they do want to run that. And that would be, and then if they have any willingness to continue lower than that, and again, like I had said, there's several areas under price under here where liquidity is sitting, where technically it'd be fair game if they wanted to run it back down under there. So I'd hope to not see a quite as a deep retracement as to price to get back down here. If it does, then there are some levels down in here that I'd like to key off of, obviously, that I've been discussing for a while, down at 136.50, but we're a ways away from there yet, so we won't know what's going to happen until price does something at this current level here. So again, looking at this bit of a mess up in here, and so we're just kind of waiting and seeing what's happening. So having a little bit of tough time so far getting through this last up candle here. So we'll see if they want to, you can see that it's coming up right at the open of that candle perfectly. So far rejecting. So we're going to have to just wait and see if it has any willingness to push higher. If it does push higher than that, then this will be the target up in here, and we'd be looking at about a 50-60 pip run up into there. So that could be a nice trade if it does want to get through there. And then if it doesn't, like I say, if these lows are going to get targeted, which would be a from here about another 60 pip run. So we'll just have to wait and see. So can't say a whole lot more about that other than let's have a quick look at the Euro GBP, which is trading in a nice range here, which is sort of the theme of the year, price trading in ranges. So I'm just going to take a couple of levels, and you can see here, I don't really even like the wicks. I like more of the bodies on these candles, so I'm going to bring the bodies down to there. So you can see here, had a nice run off, and this is in the same time that we had that run higher in the pound dollar. And you can see we've been trading softer on it. So to be honest, and then it just keyed off of the lows off of it here. So far it's seen a bit of a bounce off of these lows back in here. So we'll have to wait and see if this pair wants to start falling off and trading lower. Then we will see continued higher prices in the pound dollar. If it wants to start trading higher and back up into the consolidation range, then we could see weaker prices on the pound dollar, and again prices running even lower back down into here potentially. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Again, when it gets into these ranges, you could get this ugly type of price action for a while. You can see these ranges up in here, sort of at the 30% level, 25% level, and 75% level of this range. You could have price trading an extended period in these levels as well too. So gotta watch for that. But right now, we did get a nice bounce. It rejected, took these lows here, basically just scooped them up and shown a willingness to trade higher so far. So we'll just have to see if they want to trade And just really ugly price action in here as well too. I mean, this is not nice price action. I mean, when you're trading, you want to see, you know, this happen. This is a nice area you can get some nice trades off of. You know, this area in here, these areas in here, and this chopping sideways. It's a little bit tough to trade in sometimes, especially when price gets into these tight ranges like right in here and right in here. You know, a little bit tough to trade off of. But again, just some levels that I'm looking at on here. This last down candle in here had offered some temporary support on price thus far. You can see they traded down, they pushed it down, scooped the lows in here and traded off of it, came down once and banged into the highs of basically this small consolidation in here, traded off of it and came back down one more time. And so far it hasn't shown any willingness to get lower, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, so if it doesn't want to get any lower than under here on the Euro GBP, it could push it higher, which means again we could see lower prices on the pound dollar and to go forward. So far that's a very nice wick that it's putting in here though on the 4 hour, but no willingness yet to continue. If they wanted to get higher than this, I'd want to see them, and it's been, price has just been sitting here now for about the past 30 minutes here, just sitting at this price level. So you know, it being New York Open, you would have figured that they would have keyed into that a little bit sooner and not be stalling price here, but we'll have to see. It's showing a willingness to go up, but you know, at this point right now, again with the price, I mean, look at this price action. Ripped it down, ripped it up, ripped it down, ripped it up. I mean, it's not pretty. I mean, if anything, if you want to go off of that, go short up here and go long down here. I mean, really, that's your highest probability trade right now. So, but it's sitting right in the middle. So anyway, I'm going to move on from this pair because there's not a whole lot to discuss, unfortunately, right now. You've got the levels on the chart. If it breaks through, that would be your target on the upside. And then if it falls from here, this is my target on the downside. And a sweep of these levels here. So this is about 40-10 level, we'll call it. I'd be looking for a sweep of this level at a very minimum of 10 pips. I wouldn't just be looking for price just to pop down a pip or two. I'd be looking for it to actually sweep that level. So if we don't show any willingness to continue higher here, I'm going to target about 10 to 20 pips underneath this low here for the day. And then we'll see how that goes. US CAD, I was illustrating this again, bit of a head and shoulders pattern again, so I'd be looking for price to run lower through here. Have to wait and see. So far it hasn't shown any willingness to continue down. It had a chance to run back down into these old highs back here, didn't want to do it, pushed higher, rammed off of this consolidation level back in here, previous consolidation level. Let me put a level on there. Sorry, just fell short of it. And so far it's trading right back in the range again, so very significant price level right in here. You can see the algorithm's been really keying off of this level here, and that's the 129 level. For whatever reason, that's a very significant level because they spent a lot of time trading at that 129 level there, so they're back into it right now. So if this is a true head and shoulders pattern, I would expect price to start falling from here, and then potentially scooping up some of the lows under here. But US CAD, again, the past, and this is a daily chart, so the past 2 weeks, not a whole lot there to talk about. So I'm going to just kind of slide on from there. US yen, Dave will be doing a live session tomorrow morning, so you guys can look forward to that. He'll be discussing the US yen for us. We had a nice little bounce so far at those levels. And again, been on a nice downward slide. I don't necessarily know that this is going to continue higher or not. Just going to depend on what the US dollar is doing. The yen has been showing some strength lately, so that's why you've been seeing the downward movement in this pair. And we've just sort of been keying off of this old consolidation level back in here. And so far just really hasn't for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks or so. Hasn't really been wanting to go anywhere right now, but I'd be a little hesitant to buy into a rally that's going to take it back up here, just depending on what the yen is doing, and the US dollar. Of course, if we see weakness in the dollar, then this pair should continue to slide. But right now, like I said earlier, who knows what the dollar is going to do. We're still sitting right in the middle of this range right now. So far, prices hasn't shown a willingness to drop lower, and pushing up higher back into this run. So what they could do here, if they break through this candle here, oh, that's not the level. Oh, Jesus, come on. We're just kind of bouncing back and forth because there's not a whole lot of trades right now that I'm looking at that are going to be very high probability, unfortunately. And that's kind of how this week could be. But if they key higher and want to run through this candle here, you see these two candles right here, the lows of that candle, then they'll probably want to take the high. But if they come back up and start to stall in here, then they could be dropping it further down. So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll watch that here in a few minutes. But so anyway, nothing much on the yen, CAD, Aussie. There was some big news on the Aussie yesterday, I believe it was, or was it today that it's happening? There's a couple of high impact news. So Aussie yesterday, early Monday morning, had some ISM manufacture. Oh, sorry, looking at the wrong day. It is today. There's some retail sales happening late today, which could see the market move here a little bit. And then a little bit of news. There's some trade balance news tomorrow on the Aussie, and then that's pretty much going to cap it for the week. And then it'll pretty much be non-farm that'll be driving this thing around. But same sort of story. Nothing much to talk about. Again, you can see trading in a fairly tight pattern in here. This is the week so far. Tuesday's trading, Monday's trading. So we'll have to see here. Price right now is just banking off of the old highs here from last week. Came up, traded to it perfectly, traded softer. So I'd be looking for them to push price through this level here, potentially back up into this area in here. But you know, just depending on what that dollar wants to do, same type of thing, just sort of stalling right in here. So if they do show any willingness, they're going to start driving it through here fairly quickly. Crude oil, looking at a few levels in here, I believe we should see continued weakness in crude oil. Price not really doing anything today yet, which is a little bit surprising. CME's has opened, the commodity exchange has opened, and I was expecting a little bit more run here. If price fails here, so you see how they ripped price up, banked off of this old low back in here, and traded softer. They've traded up to it one more time. So far a failure swing. I would be looking at lower prices today, and I might actually even consider a trade here fairly soon if they don't want to show any willingness. I wouldn't mind seeing them wicking up one more time, but so far so good. They've been showing some weakness so far, not really wanting to trade into any highs. If they do want to come higher, this old low rate up here could be a potential target on the day. But I think they're going to keep trading this lower. Seen some weakness, a failure swing in here. Price ran down, came back up into the old lows back in here, and then really keyed off that level and traded softer. So they may chop it. Crude oil inventory numbers are tomorrow as well too. So keep that in mind. They may just trade this thing sideways for the rest of today until those numbers hit, and then they may trade it softer. From there, I will be expecting lower prices on this, though. I don't think they're coming in this. These are the lows of the week yet. I think they're going to make one more run down here, and hopefully, I wouldn't mind them scooping these lows in here and then keying off of this 59.16, 59.15 level down in there. But we'll have to sort of wait and see how that transpires. But same type of thing. They're just sort of trading this thing sideways. It's not really making any definitive moves higher or lower yet. price keyed off of this level here. I had this level on my chart since last week. Actually, these old highs in here, real area confluence in here, that price seems to be hitting this 62.85 level. They came down and keyed off of it almost perfectly, and so far have traded higher. But again, not looking for them to go any higher than this. If they do, maybe this candle wick in here and potentially up to 64 level, but I would be looking for a failure swing to ensue off of that, and then price to trade weaker, like I say. So we'll watch for that. Nothing to talk about there. Again, unfortunately, just sort of trading right in the middle of the range. If I do see something set up on this later on today, I'll put a signal out and I'll let you guys know, but I'll be watching that as well. Gold and S&P. Dave will be talking about this tomorrow morning during the New York session, so you can watch for that. S&P showing some real weakness here as of late, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here, if it wants to get a move lower or if it wants to run higher. But just an overextended market. You can see this thing still have lots of area to move lower on the S&P, and they'd still technically be considered a bull move. So anyway, we could we'll watch for that. Dave will come in tomorrow and go through a whole bunch of stuff there. So I'm not going to talk about any commodities today, because I really didn't see anything that caught my eye yesterday. Unfortunately, there was just one trade that I was looking at with Bitcoin, and I wanted to see continued weakness on Bitcoin. You can see I called this level last week, 2 weeks ago, that I didn't want to see price get through this level here. I was talking about shorts, and you can see price came and played out perfectly. I wanted to see it scoop this low. It hasn't done that yet, and we are trading off that, so I wouldn't expect the price to trade too much higher than current levels. I'd even permit potentially into the bottom of these this old consolidation area right here at 76.85. I'd permit price to run up into there. If it wants to drive higher than that, then we could see these highs starting to get challenged in there. But I would be expecting price pretty much any level now, either here or up into here, to be trading softer. And then I would like to finally see them scoop this old low back from the end of, was that end of January or early February? February 6th. Yeah, February 6th, this old low came in here. So I'd be looking for them to scoop that. And who knows how low they want to go with Bitcoin. I mean, we've got some levels up here that I believe are going to eventually pull price back up, but I think, you know, they've got it down, drove it down here this far. I don't know why they'd want to run it back up and grab these and then run it lower. I do believe they're going to come in and scoop these levels in here eventually, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be on this run. So we'll have to wait and see what transpires there for the week, but I'm looking at weaker prices going forward on Bitcoin. So we'll watch for that, and that's about it for today, guys. Not a whole lot else to talk about. Price is sort of stalling right in here on the US dollar, as I said. So if price does stall there and wants to run lower, then we could see prices running higher on the euro and running higher on the cable, if that's what the dollar wants to do. Ultimately, though, like I was saying, I do want to see these highs taken out here convincingly and even run up to this 90 level. That would be great if it did that, because then that would give us a bit of a direction that we can shoot for on the rest of the pairs here that I'm looking at. So again, just have to wait and see. Same thing, the exact opposite on the pound. I'd be looking for this as a failure swing, to be honest with you. It started to trade off nicely. This candle has almost closed, so I just sort of want to see what the candle does close here. If we can get a level off of here, I think they may have, this could be the high of the week here that they've taken. I mean, that's just me personally, but again, price is right in the middle of this range, so it's really 50-50 where it could go, and literally right in the middle of this range. You look at this from the body to the body, I mean, there's the 50% range right there. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of anybody's guess at this point. If they don't show any willingness to get higher than this level right here, then on the cable. And the only reason I'm talking about the cable mainly is just because it's seen the most price movement. out of the euro, and in terms of directional bias, the euro's been chopping straight sideways. The pound dollar, yes, for the past couple of days has been, but I think it's showing a weakness right now, and I think it's going to continue, to be honest with you. Any move above here, me personally, I'd be looking to fade this move. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a run higher. And if price breaks 141.30, see these candles in here? See how it sort of created there's a bit of an area. I'll just mark this out here for you guys. You see how price has really been working this area in here? See how price is back and forth between 141.10 and 141 basically 70. There's about a 60 pip range in there where they've really worked price. If price gets up and it shows a willingness to go through the middle of that range there, I'll be looking for the highs up here to get tagged. But we got to worry before we get up to there. I'd be worrying about what it's going to do with the 140.70 level, and see if they have any willingness to get higher than there. If they do want to go higher than there, then I would target a run above the highs, the old highs here, up to about this level here, 141, and then ultimately 141.30, and we'll see what it wants to do from there, if it wants to go higher. But again, I'd suspect that, you know, because they've left these equal lows in down here, and they don't typically leave these equal lows. They'll come back for those eventually. Like these old equal highs up here, they will go back for those. So keep that in mind. Yeah. Let's see what this candle wants to do here. So this is the last candle, so it's now coming into 9 a.m. New York time. Let's see what this candle wants to do here. If this candle fails to get above this high here, then that could be, see how it's pretty weak right now. Then they could want to start dropping it lower. So there'd be plenty of opportunity to get short, is what I'm saying, if that's where they want to go with it. Plenty of opportunity here to do that, but there's no rush. And again, it's Tuesday, non-farm coming out on Friday. So really, today, Wednesday, maybe a little bit of Thursday. As of late, so typically I found the past, several years of trading, the day right before non-farm, you'll get a lot of pairs that just chop sideways on the Thursday before non-farm. And lately, though, I've noticed several pairs that are actually running pretty good right before the non-farm event on Friday. So it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do. But typically the best trading happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week. So we still got another day yet. And like I say, maybe into London, open London trading during Thursday, but we'll have to see how that happens. So lots of room. If they want to finally get out of this trading range here and actually jam price somewhere in a meaningful direction, there's still lots of time to get into a trade. And again, I'm looking at it right here. If this level gets breached, then we'll be looking to target up here, and we can probably, like I say, grab, you know, like I say, on the week, if you can get in and get out with 30 or 40 pips, do that for this week. There's definitely no sense in holding for that 100 pip, 120 pip run, because I don't think we're going to get clean price action this week on movements like that. Ideally, that is the goal, obviously, for a day trade in and out, especially on the pound dollar. But you know, this week, because it's non-farm, you definitely want to just be in and out. A couple of quick movements and be done with it. And if you can get away this week with you know, 100 pips on the week, consider yourself you know, happy, and sit on the sidelines for the duration of the week. I wouldn't be pushing it any more than that. If you can get 50 pips, great. You know, like I say again, do that. But you know, I would suggest very minimal trading this week. So anyway, it's been about an hour now, and I still haven't seen price do a whole bunch. Look at the dollar. Not a whole lot going on. You can see here, they basically 1 hour, 1, 2, 3. So when I jumped onto this, do this live session, they were trading right in here, and they're pretty much right at the same spot again. So not a whole lot to talk about. Unfortunately, guys, I'm sorry. I wish I could have. I wish there was, you know, fireworks and rockets going off and big signals that said, "Get in here, buy here, sell here," and everything else. But like, look at this. I mean, literally just right in the middle of this range. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to talk about. So if you guys have any questions, I mean, this would be a great time. We can do a little Q&A here for a minute or two if you guys had any overall questions about market direction, cross pairs, you know, crypto, Bitcoin, commodities, anything like that is on your mind. Just rip me a quick question here, and I'll do my best to answer it. I've got the chat window open over here, and I can certainly do my best to try and answer any questions that you guys may have quickly. But if not, I'll give you guys just a minute here to type a question in if you've got one. But if I don't see anything other than that, then I'm going to close this session down, because it's now 9 o'clock. We're about an hour into New York Open, and so far price has not made any convincing push into one direction or another so far. So I don't know where you guys are all from. On another note, just talking about the weather here for a second, but I live in an area of the world in the Western Hemisphere here, and it just seems like we've been in an endless winter over here. We got a whole bunch of snow yesterday, and we got a whole bunch of snow coming today, and apparently this week it's supposed to be a whole bunch of snow. And I remember this time last year, I mean, I was in shorts golfing, you know, this time of year, so it's really just been a long, brutal winter where I'm at. And I know a lot of other people living in the Western Hemisphere here have been complaining about the same thing, and so it's been a bit of an issue. I can't remember the last time we've had such a terrible long winter, but it's really starting to drain on me. Very depressing. The one good thing is it's definitely staying a lot lighter out, which is nice. So you do get the sun for a few more hours of the day, which is great. But yeah, I'll tell you, it's been a long, frustrating winter. It'd be nice to get out of it here and get spring going already. Get back on the golf course, because I don't live in the southern states or anywhere near the equator, unfortunately, where you can golf all year round. One day, hopefully, that's what the plan is. Move to Hawaii, I think. That's what my wife has been bugging me about lately. I think she's had enough of these winters as well too. But that's on the bucket list. So anyway, I don't see anybody asking any questions right now, so I'll assume that you guys are you know what you're doing, and that I've covered everything here. So far we're getting some rejection on this candle right here, so I'd be looking for a push lower. Starting to do that now, so we could see a push higher on the euro, a push higher. I want to see if price on cable wants to get through this level here. I don't want to buy it right in here yet, again, just because there is a lot of resistance at this level. But if we do start to see the US dollar start to drop into here, then we could look for a push up in through here. We could look for, like I say, 30 or 40 pips up into this level here. Scoop these highs here by about 10 pips. So these highs come in about 140, call it 140.90. Scoop them by about 10 or 20 pips. You might get a run up to the 140.110 level. But again, it's not a whole lot to talk about. Nice move in here, though. That would have been a nice scoop of those lows here. It came down, rammed price down about 5 pips and rejected. And ran up about 45 pips. So, but just a lightning quick move. And typically a move like this doesn't happen until about that 8:30, 8 o'clock to 8:30 New York time. Happened a little bit earlier on this go around here today, so that came in. So we are now, let me just go into the hourly here. So this, and I'm talking this big move down here, so we're now 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You see this big candle right here? That happened at 6 o'clock in the morning. A little bit earlier than what it normally does. I wouldn't have been looking for this move here to happen if it was going to happen for about another half an hour or hour or so. And so it's kind of interesting that they moved the market down that quickly at that time of the day before the New York Open typically starts. So there could be a little bit of market stagnating, because daylight savings time did just occur. North America had happened back in March, but I know in Europe they just had it there a couple of weeks back, and so markets could still be trying to regulate themselves a bit off of that. So we could start to see some normalcy starting to come in here fairly quickly with that happening and price getting back into sync. So typically we like to see moves occur between big range moves occur between about that midnight to about 2 a.m. New York time, and between about like I say 8:30 and about 9:30 New York time for those runs. So let's see if we get a move higher on this candle here. But is there any other pair that anybody wants me to run through? Like I say, I talk about the U.S. dollar for obvious reasons, because the U.S. dollar typically dictates what the majority of the currency pairs do that are tied with it. I don't discuss any exotic pairs or anything like that, other than maybe the pound yen every now and then. We'll look at some trades there because you do get some nice price movements on that. I'll go through obviously the major pairs, the euro and the pound dollar, and then I'll do a euro GBP cross just to get a gauge on the euro USD and the pound dollar. US CAD, which is a major, the US yen, Aussie dollar, things of that nature in terms of Forex is what the majority of what I cover. But if you are, have something that you're trading that you want to get an opinion on, or get a second eye, fresh set of eyes looking at, or looking at some levels potentially, just put it in the chat, and I can certainly do my best to, I'll bring up a chart and kind of talk you through some levels that I'd be looking at that would be kind of interest, that maybe I'm not covering here that you guys want to see me cover. I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys. And then obviously I cover crude oil, a couple of commodities. What are we doing on crude here? We are finally getting that failure. See this failure in here? I should have been watching that, guys. That was my fault. Price is really failing at that 63.40 level, so I'd be looking for a continuation lower. So we'll see if it wants to give us that there. But yeah, sorry, back to that. So I'll do a few commodities. If I see a commodity that's trading, crude oil trades very, very nicely in trends. You get some nice fluid price action with crude oil. Some of the other commodities, you don't always get that. Copper's been sort of chopping a little bit lately. Cocoa, again, really hit some highs there, so there's really nothing I'd be looking at. Maybe some shorts in here to come back down to this old level back in here. But again, these are very, very seasonal, so there's a lot more to this to do than just straight price level on commodities. There's several other ideas that you have to take into account with trading commodities. So if something sets up nicely, it's not a day trade, it's more of a swing trade. I'd be wanting to sit on it for a week to a month at least before the expiration of the current month contract. Getting in and getting out. So what I'll do, actually, if there are any commodity traders, and again, please note, I am not a regulated commodity trader by any means. All the stuff that I'm talking about here is purely hypothetical. This is my opinions only, and not constitute as trading advice, so just please keep that in mind. But I'll do a video here, I think this week, because we're first of the month, basically, first week of trading, so I might even be able to sit down later today and do it, and I'll just kind of pull up some of those levels and some of those different factors that I was talking about with commodities, and maybe see if we can't look at a few trades going into the month of April here, because you do usually get some good movement from going from April into May. So I'll look at that for you guys, and typically what I'll do is I'll go through, you can't see it here, there we go, should be able to see that. So you can see here on my chart anyway, with this particular broker, I get copper, cocoa, coffee, cotton, orange juice, sugar, and things of that nature. So what I'll do is I'll just run through those pairs, and that's enough. I mean, we don't need to overclutter it. I mean, I know there's lean hogs and cattle and you know, soybeans and the whole bit, and I'll run through some of the major ones and see if I see anything set up for you guys. So if there are any commodity traders out there, you know, I'll give you some swing trade ideas on that you can look for. Because right now, like I say, with the US dollar just sitting in the middle here, doing, you know, not doing too much, and everything else doing that, then we're getting some nice failure on the pound. US dollar starting to reject. And again, just trading in the range, because I was just saying about 10 minutes ago that we're starting to see some failure in here. So really, price could go anywhere. But we are seeing this area, this 40-70 level, hold up. It's traded about 15 pips softer now on that one. So if this was the high of the week, Tuesday creating the high of the week, I'd be looking for, like I say, lower prices on this. So I'd be looking for these lows in here to get scooped. But they could be just returning down to this candle in here. So there's two levels. If price can get lower than here, I would potentially be interested in looking for a short. A lot of people, I mean, you could certainly short it up in here, but I'd be worried about a bounce in this level in here. But it really showed a nice willingness to not want to trade back up into this range here. And on the hourly, you can see there's a stronger candle right up in here. Basically the old highs in here. There's a real area confluence right at this level, right at this 140.70 level. And you can see how price is really trading off of that level there several times. Traded off of it one more time here again. So they could just be pushing it down once to kind of clean up this sort of small trading range in here and pushing it higher. Or they could be, that could offer some resistance for us, and we could see this price trading lower. You know, and I apologize, like guys, I wish I could tell you this thing's going higher or it's going lower definitively, but I mean, if you can do that, I mean, I know there are definitely a number of other factors, you know, in terms of, you know, the futures contract and the strength of the pound and the strength of the dollar and everything else. I'm not going to get into that into too much detail on here. Just because I know with a lot of new traders and everything, it'd be way over your head. So if we're just looking for intraday trades, you know, day trades, again, that's sort of where we're getting a mixed signal between if it's going to run lower, if it's going to run higher. On a weekly, I can tell you right now, it's going to run higher, but it's going to retrace first. How deep are we going to get a retracement before it does that? And so that's sort of where we're getting hung up right now. And again, with the dollar chopping sideways, this thing chopping sideways, the euro chopping sideways, you know, it's not pretty trading right now. Euro's finally making a nice push here. Here it goes. There we go. Taking the lows. Now let's see how deep of a retracement we get. Typically, we'll get anywhere between 10 and 20 pips. So this guy here is 20 pips. So let's see if they want to get lower than that and come down to this level here. Finally getting some nice price movement here. See if we're getting a move higher. There we go. Finally took out these highs here, or it's about to anyway, take out those highs. So we'll see now if price will get up into here, or if it's just going to get another, you know, bounce off of this level lower. That is basically what I want to see. Pound dollar. So if we're heading lower here, heading higher here, potentially, heading lower here, the cable, we're not seeing that move lower on the cable yet. It definitely is trading softer, but you can see the euro is taking out these lows convincingly. This is about a 10 pip, just about a 10 pip stop run so far. Now I'm not suggesting that this is a stop run and that price is going to reject and trade higher. We definitely traded softer off of here, so I'd be expecting lower prices, and 22.40 would be one of a target. But I'd like to see if they have any willingness to get lower than this 10 pips here, just being a stop run and everything, and then we'll see where that wants to go. We'd have to get a push much higher on the dollar. Here's those old highs right there, and that comes in at 89.82, 89.80, 89.82. So I'd be looking for a push at least up to 89.85 if it's going to clear these old highs, and then hopefully a push up to 90 level here if this is the actual one that finally did it here. Looking pretty strong now. You can see that, like I say, like pound really does not want to look like it's moving too much. That drop in the euro, it's getting crushed right now, but the pound is just sort of sitting there. About a 37 pip run so far. Got 10 pips. Let's see if it wants to go down to the 20 pip range. And there it is. It just got the highs there. Let's see if it has any willingness to continue higher. Hopefully this is now finally breaking out of this trading range. I really don't want to see it come up here, grab the stops, and then trade lower. I'd really like this to be the push higher. That would be great. So in terms of a symmetrical price swing, there's some levels up in here that would bring us above those highs. See this old high right here? Another symmetrical price swing above that would bring us right above the old highs in here. So you can see price ran up once, consolidated. If we do get a second push higher, and this is very, very far out, obviously. I'm not suggesting we're going to get up there today or anything, but that would take out this old high right here, an exact symmetrical price swing of this movement here, which could be interesting, or at least, at the very least, into it. But anyway, something I'll be looking at for down the road. See if price will get up there or not. Getting any movement on the pound dollar. Finally getting some movement on the pound dollar. I wonder if these lows will get tagged. So it's coming back down. So this is Monday's open. It came down once, tagged off. It came down twice, tagged off of it. Coming back down a third time. Is it going to push through the third time? If we get any continuation higher on the US dollar, we should see a push lower underneath these lows here. The euro is convincingly doing that now. Coming up on that 20 pip run now, finally. So this would be the target I'd be looking for on today, 122.40. And that's again just these lows here. I'd be looking for a quick sweep and run down into there. That would be the target at 122. If we can break this 20 pip stop run right here, 22.60. I'd be expecting at least another 20 pip run down to cap off the day. So that's actually, that's nice to see. So like I say, we're lower than Monday's open. Where is Monday's open here? Monday's open is right here. So we traded up, made the high on Monday, came down, ripped back up, failed at this level in here, and have traded softer. So I would be expecting lower prices for the week again. And then this low here definitely getting challenged. So hopefully we would start to see lower prices in here as well too. Again, Tuesday creating a high on this particular pair, and then Wednesday, Thursday I'd be looking for lower prices to ensue. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to sit here and watch price any longer. I think you got enough levels that I've called, so you can pretty much gauge as to what price is going to do. Ripping that 20 pip stop now, so we'll see if there's any willingness to continue. US dollar hit the level convincingly, smashed through it. That is great to see. Very, very happy to see that. Next target 90.40 is what I'd be looking for. And get a level off of here. If price can get through here and we don't see a willingness, now what we could do is a break and retest. So just keep that in mind. Price could trade up, do one of these, and then come back down to sort of the tops of these candles, do a retest, and then a breakout. So keep that in mind. We could see that today. But right now, very, very convincing, very nice bullish action. So I'd like to see that momentum continue and eventually target this high up here. And then once it hits there, then we'll start looking at these highs in here, this high here, and then ultimately that high being the goal. So that's where I'd like to see this. But anyway, I'm glad there was finally some action happening at the end of the session here. Two nice big candles. So we're going to try and ride off of that momentum and try and get a couple of trades going into this week if that is truly the potential highs and lows of the week. So all the members, you can expect a few signals coming out here for the rest of today and tomorrow. And then again, non-farm payroll on Friday, so make sure all your trading's wrapped up before Friday's trading. So thanks, guys. If you have any questions, just shoot us a note. You know how to get a hold of us. Have a great day, and again, there will be another live trading session tomorrow. Dave will be on trading the S&P gold and US yen markets tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. New York time, so you can watch for him. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. If you haven't, sorry, one last thing. If you haven't already, click the bottom button right here on our logo, and just make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So thanks, guys. Hope you have a great Tuesday. We'll catch you up to you tomorrow.